What is going on, baseball fans? Welcome to the finale of Season 3 of This Week in Baseball, presented by Diamond Digest. I'm your host, Jordan Lazowski. We've got two Sams, a James and a Tavi, for this final episode of the 2022 season. We're going to put a bow on it, send it home. Congratulations to the Astros on just being dominant again. That's really all I got to say about that to kick it off. Well, you got a lot to talk about, though, because not only is it a wrap-up for the season, but it's sort of a preview for free agency. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about the White Sox and the Royals finishing off their managerial hires, as well as the fact that we already have one domino that's fallen for free agency with Edwin Diaz. We'll talk about that deal a little bit. Before we get there, how's everyone doing? Good? Ready to put a bow on the season?
Yeah.
I'm ready to the season be over, but I'm not ready for hot stove season. So, I don't know where that puts me emotionally.
You're a Dodgers fan. Hot stove season only means good things.
Not
Dodgers have a lot
always.
going on this offseason.
You're right.
This is an
I
oddball
can't
season.
wait for the next Trevor Bauer to come to LA.
Yeah, let me tell you, not always a good thing.
My favorite part about hot stove season is seeing just the incredible amount of tweets a day that will always include some mystery team, and I don't know, it's all just rumor speculation until something happens, is what I've realized. The tweets really mean nothing until we get to the finish line with most of these free agency deals, but that's how
And
it
don't
usually
forget,
goes.
the Dodgers are interested in everyone.
Everyone.
So are the Yankees. So are the
Yeah,
Red Sox.
all the names, all the teams with money are always interested.
And then,
Yeah,
and
the
then the
John Heyman
Rangers
show.
swoop in and sign everybody.
Yep. Before we get in, Sam, have you appeared on a This Week in Baseball episode before?
Yeah, I've appeared on. Oh, well, I mean, I'll go by
Yes,
Samuel for this. Yeah.
Samuel. Sorry.
Yeah. I've appeared on one other, but yeah, second time doing
Okay.
it.
And I won't have you introduce yourself to everyone. So
Yeah.
we can jump right in then. Let's get it going. So we'll start with some of the smaller news that happened before the World Series came to a close. The White Sox and Royals both found their managers. The White Sox got their manager from the Royals, Pedro Grifol, the former bench coach of the Royals, and Matt Quatraro finally got his job in the managerial seat. He goes from the Rays bench coach to the Royals manager. So a nice little jump for him. A nice little jump for Grifol, who also gets a promotion of sorts. And I guess for me, just the biggest news is it feels like the White Sox did something good here, or at
Very
least
good.
not bad. Is how I
My
took it.
God.
It's like it was good. I don't know if anyone else has strong thoughts on either of these managerial positions, but I look at it as
Have we talked
two
about
qualified
Oshie?
guys getting their jobs.
Yeah, Griffel, I think is a great. I think he's going to be a great overall manager because especially if he's an analytics guy, he's going to be making less of the who's in, who's out decision than the numbers will. But he has worked like all over, like different organizations, every level of the organization, like both like as a coach and as like ops manager, and like he's done a little bit of everything. So he's really in a good position to know when the person whoever he's talking to, be it a player or a person within the organization, he has a really good idea of what their job is and how they contribute and how they can contribute to on the field things. But when his name was announced, I was like, who? So like I had to do like a little bit of a deep dive on this guy. Like, who the hell is this guy? Apparently he was up for a couple jobs last year, but I didn't really see his name. I think he was just kind of on the list to fill out a couple lists. And then maybe because of that, people took a deeper look at him, and now he's got this. So yeah, I think he seems interesting. He seems like a baseball guy. Like there's always, that's always the thing. Like he's a real baseball guy. This is a real baseball guy. He's done a lot of different things within the organization. And I think that's good perspective wise. We'll see how it helps him manage. As for the other guy, he's been a Ray literally his whole life. Mike, he was with the Yankees for like 5 minutes in 2003. He has been a Ray since they were the Double Rays, you know?
Yep.
So it might be a bit of a culture shock for him. Having been with literally one organization your entire career. He may have managed in other leagues, but as far as Major League Baseball wise, he's been with the Rays. So we'll see. There'll be a little bit of adjustment, I'm sure, but he seems to be an interesting guy. He seems to know what he's about. He's definitely got the analytics chops. I don't think you can be like a janitor with the Rays and not know a little bit about analytics. That's how heavy they are. Like they're the most efficient cleaning staff in the whole game, I bet. But yeah, so it seems like good hires. It seems forward thinking. Along with Griffel, they did hire, and I can't remember, was it Montoyo? He was a former Blue Jays manager. So they still had to hire an old baseball guy, but at least they seem to be bringing in some new blood, or at least fresher blood, and good.
Yeah, Matt Quatraro was definitely one of the most long overdue managerial hires in baseball. I mean, he had been having his name float around since at least 2018. He's been with the Rays and been a brilliant bench coach under Kevin Cash. And it's just kind of like this whole school of teaching now with the Rays, from just reports that I've read about the whole schooling of coaching that's going on there. Matt Quatraro is under Kevin Cash, and now that Quattaro's gone, they'll get their AAA guy Brady Williams, who's won the championship in the minors with the Durham Bulls like 2-3 years in a row now. So he definitely has a claim to his name, and it's just kind of like a factory system in Tampa now with coaches. You raise them up right, they do great in Tampa, and they get a big league job in a struggling team. So, it's a cycle, and yeah.
The other name that I'm curious, and I think it kind of leads right into some of the World Series talk that comes after this. Joe Espada, once again, for someone who gets his name throughout there every single time, was another finalist for the Miami job, had been rumored to be connected to the White Sox job. Another time he goes through the order and still finds himself sitting on the Astros bench. Now, with the Astros winning the World Series, does Dusty retire and Espada take over there? Still remains to be seen. That's just another name I felt like it was worth calling out, because it's like he goes through this every time, and you see Quatraro and Espada were two names that you felt like every time they were thrown out, and they didn't.
Not to mention Skip Schumacher got hired over Espada in Miami. So I mean, he's never had any managing experience in his career.
Right.
Espada, meanwhile, has had a lot.
I do love the Skip hire, though.
Bruce Bochy got rehired.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think with a guy like... first of all, his name is literally Skip. Gotta give him some props for that. Now I'm going to...
For a long time, you've known what you're supposed to be in life.
Yeah,
so.
It's like the long playing career, just a lead up.
Well, Griffel said he wanted to be a manager since AAA. So, some guys, maybe Skip has been the long campaign.
I think with Skip and the Marlins are very it's a young group, and I think that young group needed a young manager.
Yeah,
I think they need offense more than they need a young manager.
That's true.
Yeah, because I was saying that about Jace Tingler when he took over with the Padres, but look how that turned out for him. So.
So a lot of not a lot of managerial changes, not as many as I thought, or many fans also thought might be open. I think there was always the rumor about, is this the last year for Aaron Boone with the Yankees, and that doesn't seem to be coming to fruition anytime soon. So now you're at full managerial staff, right? When I think every other coaching staff is probably rounding out its final spots. But at the end of the day, we've got all of our managers down. And it kind of leads perfectly, like I was mentioning with the Espada, kind of leads perfectly right into the Astros, who took down the Phillies in 6 games. I don't think it was much of a surprise to many people. It was more of a surprise for me that Philly got all the way there. Props to them for I've said this multiple times. The conversation about them to start this year was, can you mash your way to a World Series? And you can, apparently. But you still got to finish the job. And it's hard to go up against Houston and feel good about your chances at any time. I think it's hard to go up against Houston and feel good about your chances when you proceed to lose 2 of 3 at home after splitting the first 2 games. That's kind of where you lost your series there. I guess I'll give the floor to you guys. Reactions, just thoughts about what went right for Houston, what went wrong for Philly, and kind of how we got here.
I think Philadelphia is in a terrific spot right now.
Mhm.
Like, I think they have their guy at manager with Rob Thompson, and most of that offensive core is staying put. So basically, there one of two things going to happen. They're either going to roll out basically the same guys who just made it to a World Series, or they're going to make additions, do some dealing to make the team even better. And I think in either of those situations, I think they're poised to make another deep run.
You sneak in again, and you go for that. I guess you look at the Phillies. What do you add to that? Again, what went wrong to the point where it's like this is a clear, identifiable need for them heading into next season?
Well, they're still relying on just incredibly young, unproven guys. I mean, Bryson Stott and Brandon Marsh were not ready for the big leagues, in my opinion.
Mhm.
They definitely weren't. They looked completely unmatched when they were up playing in the playoffs. And I mean, they had very big hits and big moments. I mean, Marsh with that 3-run bomb against the Braves, and Stott had his own. They all had their moments, but still, there were so many parts of that team that just looked so unfinished. And that's what the Phillies, when they really start getting better, Bryson Stott develops, maybe Marsh, I'm not sure about him. But when they start having young players develop and also start, transferring out some of the veterans, Gene Segura getting in some different guys, I think their offense is going to take strides, not only offensively, defensively as well, because defense hurt them a lot in the playoffs.
Plus, when you're going up against a team like the Houston Astros, you can't afford those mistakes. I went back and watched Game 6. Houston's just an impressive team at the end of the day.
Yeah, the series was Houston won the series. Philadelphia didn't really lose.
And that's where it's like, and that's kind of where I was getting at. I'm like, yeah, we can try and find things, but like maybe they want another high leverage relief guy. I don't know if you feel good trusting David Robertson to pitch significant innings heading into 2023. I don't know. Maybe you do. I think you probably don't. I think maybe if you can get a high leverage arm there in Philly, you feel a little bit better about those chances as well. You get a little bit more experience for your young guys, you feel a lot better. But I mean, overall, for a team that, I mean, when we started this journey, we were making our predictions. It was Philly had no shot. Philly's got no chance. There's no way they're getting out of the first round, such and such. A World Series. You faced the wrong team. You faced the team where, the playoffs got it right. Like, they were able to advance through. They took care of the teams they needed to take care of. That's Houston. I know we got 2 Dodgers fans on here who have been silent throughout this entire thing. I don't think it's a coincidence when you talk about Houston, what happens in LA. But
I do have something to add.
Uh-oh.
And I will be unpopular among Dodgers fans, but I am happy Houston won. I am happy for Houston that they won. Because after the Dodgers were eliminated and Houston was going on their run, it pretty much occurred to me there will never be what I find to be an acceptable answer for whatever shenanigans happened 5 years ago. And dwelling on it would not help. So I just chose to move on. It only took 3 years since the scandal broke, 5 years since the actual series broke. I'm just like, I finally just got over it. So good for them.
How does that make you feel?
I mean, Jeremy Pena is a freaking stud. I said on this podcast he was my pick to win Rookie of the Year. He didn't do that, and it cost me some money, but he also won ALCS MVP.
Always comes back to that for you.
And World Series MVP, and I'd rather win World Series MVP because it probably means I win a World Series. So, good for the Astros. They deserve it. Dusty Baker, I think he's going to retire. I think Joe Espada is going to take his spot, and I think that's why he didn't really seem to be a finalist for many jobs. Because would you rather be the manager of the defending World Series champions in Houston or whatever the hell Miami's doing?
I mean, either way you look at it, would you rather be the manager of the team that just went to the ALCS 6 years in a row, or would you manage either mid-rebuild or, in the White Sox case, I don't even know where they are right now. It's hard to not enjoy that sort of job that you've probably got. I do agree that Dusty's probably done at this point.
I think he was just waiting to take over the Houston job once Baker got hired. Because they hired Baker mostly as a way to maintain some sort of integrity after the whole cheating scandal broke. As a way of... he wasn't a baseball guy that they hired specifically for tactical reasons. It was, hey, everyone loves Dusty. We need a respected leader who can handle probably the most, probably the biggest scandal of the last century. And he did. And he did with great results. He's in his 70s now. He's won his World Series. I think he can ride off in the sunset, and Espada can get the job that he's probably been long overdue for.
It's like, it reminds me of that scene from the Simpsons movie where Tom Hanks says the U.S. government lost all credibility, so it was borrowing some of his. Houston Astros lost all credibility, so they borrowed some of Dusty Baker's.
Let's just put it this way. I know a guy who works in the Astros organization. I'm happy for him. He was not part of the 2017. I'm happy for the young guys who have come up and were not part of that team and have had to endure the booing. I'm also extremely conscious that the price of cheating for an Astro is $5 million. And you can't help but think, is there some money tucked away somewhere? Even if that's a completely unfair opinion, a lot of people kind of think that in the back of their head. Is like, well, did they or didn't they? And a lot of people are saying, other people are saying, oh, this validates them. They did it without cheating. They did it, with all this stuff. And like, maybe you could have done it in 2017, but you'll never know. You'll never know. You cheated yourself out of that. And it doesn't validate anything, right? Like, it's this team, it's this year. There's going to be, because they were not punished, because they basically got a slap on the wrist, there's going to be questions about this team and the people who were involved in it forever. So I didn't watch a lot of it. I did watch part of the world's most boring combined no-hitter in World Series history. There's no joy on that team. There's no joy on that team.
There's a no-hitter in the World Series, and we didn't lead with that.
Nobody cared. It was so boring. It was so joyless. And I don't know. Fine. I just can't like the organization, because here's the thing. It wasn't just a cheating scandal that came out. There was a really big sexual harassment scandal, right? And they hired known abusers. I just can't root for this team. So I'm happy for that one guy in the organization that I know personally, and vaguely happy for some of the young guys, but I can't, it's not this validating push that I think some folks want it to be. It's just, good for you. Should you have been able to win a World Series that soon after causing the worst scandal in modern history? For sure. Should you have been in a financial place? Should you have been allowed to thrive like that? Shouldn't you have suffered some kind of consequence? from doing that. And to me, this win is just like, no, you weren't punished even a little bit at all. You were able to complete a World Series title 3 years after it came out that you cheated.
I completely agree. Yeah.
You shouldn't have been in
Completely.
this position. Like you shouldn't have you as an organization should have been punished to where this should have felt like an accomplishment, right? They could have done this in spite of the penalties that they had to pay, but they didn't. So who cares if they won it?
Sounds like your grievances are just as much with Rob Manfred as they are with the
100%. And with
Mhm.
ownership, and with the executives that some of them are still there. They did fire other ones, but there's an organization that supports and encourages that kind of behavior, especially when I'm talking about, the reporter who was harassed. Like, a lot of those folks are still there, or the environment's still there. So
I mean,
good job. Cool. Good job.
I mean, this was an exceedingly anticlimactic playoffs.
Yeah.
The good team, like the team with the best players, won. Shocker. And then it just turns into, oh yeah, I guess Jeremy Pena. He's kind of cool. Oh, and Kyle Tucker, I like him. Who else? And then it's like that's the end of the list.
Alvarez, maybe.
I guess Jordan. Yeah.
Like I said,
It's a hard
the way
team
I
to
see
like.
it,
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to like. You look at this, it is. And I mean, I don't know. I look at it from the standpoint of because I think you kind of hit it well, Tavi, where, it should have felt like more of an accomplishment. Like, I do get completely what you're saying there, where it's like, had been punished a bit more. And I think people will be like, all right, when's the time to... The big question is always going to be, when do you feel like when do you feel like it? Because the reaction is going to be it's time to move out. It's like when do you feel that way though? When like it has to be gutted. Like this has to be a completely different Houston Astros organization, essentially.
I will say,
I think that's going to be the reaction for a lot of fans. I don't know if it's mine personally, but I think it's a question a lot of fans are going to push back and ask.
I will say, I thought Dusty Baker should have gotten the World Series trophy first instead of the owner. That's why I like the Stanley Cup. And because when they give away the Stanley Cup, they give it to the players first, not the owners. And it's the only sport that does that. Because, I don't know, it seems like they have more to do with it than the rich guy who maybe goes to 15 games a year.
Jim Crane is a large part of why I don't like the Astros.
Oh yeah.
And there's some behind the scene stuff too that is just really gross about him. And I just don't I can't I'm really happy for that one person that I know in the organization, and end of list.
Fact of the matter is that I think Houston wants this to redeem 2017 so badly. That's the thing. They want it to, but the fact of the matter is they did the probably top tier way of cheating. They cheated at one of the highest levels to win a championship. And that, in my opinion, is just unredeemable. You literally cheated everybody out, and you cheated, and I know it's always the Dodgers that it comes back to, but they cheated.
It's also the Yankees.
It's
every
sure.
team. It's every team that could have been in that series against the Dodgers and wasn't.
So it comes down to the fact that
all the pitchers that lost their fucking jobs, and all of the teams that Darvish did not deserve it. We talk about Clayton Kershaw not deserving it. Darvish didn't deserve it.
Oh, that Clayton Kershaw 2017 start in Houston just will frustrate me to this day of how obvious it was that I felt that Houston were cheating, and just the way people remember that game.
Obviously,
that's why I choose not to dwell on it.
Houston, like, obviously what they did was atrocious, but we're still not. People aren't calling the White Sox a pack of gambling cheaters anymore.
Oh, that's 19-0. No, what is it? What is the Black Sox?
That implies that there's a logical end to when
a statute of limitations.
They also got punished.
That's true. That's true.
No. Okay, hold on. Do you know why the Black Sox became known as the Black Sox? Because they fucking toured afterwards. They became this troupe, and they banded together, and they would literally advertise and play basically what is the equivalent of indie ball, and be like, famous Black Sox would come up. They kept playing, like, everyone's like, oh, they never played baseball again. They played baseball, and they made money off of the fact that they were criminals. Like, they absolutely did. They cultivated the Black Sox moniker as much as the press did, and they made money off of it. I don't see like Correa or any of those guys doing that, right? Like, but
There's
the Black Sox are very much a thing. So Shoeless Joe did play. He or at least there's advertisements advertising that he would make appearances. Whether or not he played or not, maybe it was just an appearance. But they did not stop playing baseball.
This is why you bring a baseball historian on your page.
I think I can. I'm gonna see if I can find it. You guys come on, but
I mean, is it like? I mean, like, was the solution to ban every single player who played for the Astros that season for life? Like where was? Because that seems a bit extreme. Like, where was the solution in the middle of the
I don't think there would have been anything.
Fine. I mean, monetary fines, I think, other than $5 million, which is what, beer sales, maybe? Like, come on.
It's a drop in the can for a billionaire.
It's a drop. Right. Yeah. And I mean, like, I think the players that were, because we do have proof, right? Tony Adams did a great spreadsheet, and you saw which players had bangs and which players didn't, which is one of the Altuve things that, like, Altuve didn't cheat, but he didn't say shit either. But like, we do have some measurable proof of which players got bangs and bang cans and which guys didn't, and just they don't get their World Series bonus. They don't get their what is it, a couple million bonus or something like that.
It's a few $100,000. Whatever.
It is endorsement deals when it comes to sign. Like, you should at least be fined. Like, fined money, right? They know who did it. There are a million other ways that it could have happened and it didn't. And this is the result: is that they're gonna be the big bad for a while. But I have a perfect segue into free agencies. If you think that the Dodgers are gonna sign Carlos Correa, I swear to God, I'm going to punch you. Like, it just, why? Why would that happen? Do they want, like...
Segue of the year, if you're asking me.
They have, I'm not a violent woman, but I would consider, I take back the punching. I'm sorry.
It would be so funny. It would be so funny, though.
I would find a way. Funny. But I'm just saying, it just, like, why would you bring that bad, like... Why?
They wouldn't. They're not going.
They wouldn't.
They wouldn't.
They're gonna.
I didn't think the Yankees would turn to the Red Sox as inspiration either.
They're gonna keep Trey Turner, and everything's gonna be all fine and well.
Yeah. I think I'd have to be an Angels fan for a season.
But
I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
To put a bow on the World Series, congrats to Houston. Congrats to Dusty, who, like we all think, is probably going to retire. But again, it kind of comes down to this. It's like, the topic of conversation has been twofold. It's one, it was an expected World Series. It may have taken them a little bit longer, but the team with the best players won. So everyone who complained about the World Series format, the best team won. It is what it is. But number two, it comes back to, you're not going to convince many fans outside of Houston that this validates anything. I think that's been what I've seen on Twitter, on social media, and I think that's the sentiment that the four of you kind of share is, congrats to them, but at the same time, it's hard to say.
We do not care.
Good job to Jeremy Pena and only Jeremy Pena.
So,
just him.
I think Houston fans probably don't care what anyone outside has to say.
They shouldn't. Their team won the World Series.
Exactly.
Well,
they shouldn't.
They were hating on Joe Davis. They have no taste.
Oh, dude, come on.
Okay, so that was my other. That's a really
Joe
good
Davis
question.
Is the best.
How did we like No Joe Buck this year?
Great.
It was amazing.
If I had another hand, it would be giving a thumbs up.
Dude, honestly, I'm joining in.
Interesting.
I don't like John Smoltz, so.
Yeah, John Smoltz is whatever. He has his weird boomer clips sometimes.
The John Smoltz stuff has been awesome. where he's like inventing stats that are already
Can we just get Tony Romo calling baseball games?
You know what? I kind of wish we could get John Smoltz drunk, right? Like drunk John Smoltz with sober Joe Davis would just be a real fun time, I think.
I was amused at the amount of stuff I saw. Like he made this baseball stat that already exists. He's like, it's fine. Let these guys figure it out themselves and think they did it without our help. I'm fine with this. Like, let them figure it out and go from there.
It's like,
I don't know if I had strong opinions. You sometimes miss the Joe Buck in the big moments. I think Davis did a great job.
No.
Joe Buck has some legendary calls.
There was
at the same time.
I love hearing back against the wall 50
Which
times
back at the wall did you like the best?
Yeah.
But there's an iconic piece to that. Like the Harper home run against San Diego that kind of sent them to the World Series. I feel like that's one where you almost want Joe Buck call. And I'm not a big Joe Buck guy. I'm not.
I always think of that one that David Freese hit in the 2011 World Series where he just goes, "We will see you tomorrow night." I'm just like, that's so lame, dude. And one of the greatest World Series. No, it wasn't.
I
also like that call.
You do?
Yes.
The amount of energy that was going through St. Louis that night and how big of a game that was, and he just says, "We'll see you tomorrow night."
And then he lets the crowd reaction speak.
So Joe Davis is so good
That's
at
what
letting
Vince Scully did the best. He let the crowd tell the story of the game along with.
Think about that compared to like Joe Carter. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger. That's cool. The whole stadium's going crazy.
So here's the other thing. This is Joe Davis's first World Series.
Mm-hmm.
He's working with a new partner. I think he did fantastic. I know some of you non-Dodger fans have not got to hear him on a regular basis. He has some absolutely amazing calls. The Mookie Magic, a walk-off catch, a robbery of Tatis. Like that is just that he has so many memorable calls that are very Dodger specific. I think next year he's going to be comfortable. He's, hopefully maybe has a partner who's a little more or at least maybe John Smoltz brings his A game, and I think he's going to be great. But I'm not at all worried about if he stays on the World Series. I think you guys are going to be really happy with him going in the future. He absolutely has the ability to capture the moment and let it breathe absolutely beautifully. So it's just a different style, but I think you guys are really going to love seeing more and more of him, which sucks because that means we don't get as much of him, but we're willing to part with him.
And I didn't hate him, to be clear. I didn't hate it. It wasn't
the
like
fact that most people did not hate a national broadcast is already head and shoulders above literally every other broadcast.
The end point is like, oh yeah, it was fine. Like it was pretty good. It wasn't like, oh, no one had super strong opinions, which is kind of where you want to be as a broadcaster.
Yeah, I saw a few, but they're wrong. And Astros fans.
I think there should be a ban on being a Hall of Fame baseball player and calling the World Series, but that's just me. You shouldn't get both. Get inducted in the Hall of Fame, can't broadcast the World Series anymore. Can't do it.
Who would you have do it then?
But shall we get into some free agency?
Jessica Mendoza.
Let's get into some free agency and kind of kick off. So now we'll put the bow on the end of the 2022 season, look towards the 2023 season, 2023 offseason, all that fun stuff. So just to start off, I guess some key dates fans should know. The GM meetings are coming up starting this week in Vegas, the 8th through the 10th. Team options and qualifying offers are also due next week, about the 10th or 11th, I believe. I'm not sure if it's both days, one day. But look for the end of next week to kind of know who the full free agent class is. From there, Rule 5 protection is November 15th. The non-tender deadline is November 18th. So I guess that's the truest, fullest free agent list. But November 20th and 21st, decisions from players on qualifying offers are due. And the winter meetings, December 5th through the 7th in San Diego. So those are some of the big dates to keep in mind. But before we could even get to any of that, we already had someone fall off the free agent market. Edwin Diaz, 5 years, $102 million. A $100 million, $20 million a year reliever.
That's
Go
an
back to
emotional buy. Like, he's a good pitcher, don't get me wrong, but that's an emotional purchase to the Mets.
I mean,
for the city
Nothing
right there.
electrified them like
Exactly.
the song and the trumpets and actual Timmy trumpet playing. Like, this is an emotional purchase, and I think it's a good one. He's still a great pitcher. It's a lot for a reliever, but I think if you look at it more as a traditional closer, the price gets a little more reasonable. I don't know if because I don't think he didn't always close, right? Like, he did earlier innings too. He kind of moved. I don't know. I didn't watch as consistently this year.
He's more of a high leverage guy
Yeah.
than a closer.
Yeah. So if you think of it like that, that's the number gets reasonable. But it's also, the Mets had a disappointing postseason, but they had a really, really great and really fun season in Edwin Diaz, and the culture surrounding Edwin Diaz had a lot to do with that. So it's not, did they overpay? Maybe a little bit, but that extra is going for hopefully Timmy trumpet rights forever because,
William Contreras William Contreras, no, he can't just use that song. It's Edwin Diaz's song.
He definitely licked it really hard, if not anything else. Like, he's the little kid who slapped his hand on it and said mine.
The $20 million.
Well, he's not even the most famous player in his family.
The $20 million price tag has become very interesting because I think previously we kind of saw the market at 14 to 16 million. I think Kenley Jansen got 16 million last offseason.
He did.
So you're sitting around that 16 million number. And it puts those guys who are in that 14, like I look at, from a White Sox fan perspective, I look at the Liam Hendricks deal, and it now looks like it's almost like, again, everything with Diaz makes it more like emotional overpay, but then it's like, wow, maybe I feel a little bit better about that.
Reliever
$14
deals
million.
sour very quickly.
And maybe
is
Steve
what
Cohen just
happens.
doesn't care.
That's a big part of it.
He's
Yeah,
not penny
I don't know,
pinching.
like,
He's
that's
like,
Deal.
I like this guy. Let's keep him around.
So
At the end of it.
It doesn't fare well for other teams who might be going after Brandon Nimmo, for example, later this offseason, where if he wants him, he's going to find a way to keep him.
I think he might try and upgrade at the position, though.
So it's always a chance he might. But you look at it, and he falls off the board. And I think the general consensus is probably a bit of an overpay, $100 million for a reliever. But you get someone like Diaz, you lock down the back end of your bullpen. You feel pretty good about doing it.
Do we know who Diaz's agent is? I'm just curious. It's not popping up.
Is he a Boris guy?
Couldn't tell you.
I feel like if he was a Boris guy, it would pop up when I.
You would know if he were a Boris.
You would
guy, 'cause
know, but
everyone
that
would
is-
be talking
that's
about how
Boris
he's a Boris
numbers,
guy.
right?
Previously Wasserman and now Rep 1 Baseball.
There you go.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
there's
usually
been a
on
bump
the
in
sport.
salaries across the league that didn't really happen with relievers. I think, as dramatically. Maybe it's just time relievers got paid more money. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, I
It's
think
too
I think
volatile
it's an emotional
for
buy.
me to like it.
I don't
I'm
think
very
any-
surprised relievers are still getting money, to be quite honest. I mean, if anything, like data has just showed us the past years, don't put your money into relievers. They're volatile. They're the most volatile position on the roster. Don't put your money into it. I mean, the only teams who are giving these contracts away are the ones who just have excess money to spend. I mean, the Braves close to 18 mil on Kenley, the Dodgers, Kimbrel adding all these different types of relievers on. I mean, the White Sox, everybody said they'd have the best bullpen before the start of the year because they went out and got Joe Kelly, Liam Hendricks with that massive deal the year before, Jake Diekman, all these guys. It's just relievers you can build homegrown, and a lot of teams know that. It's just the upper big market teams have the luxury of going after these type of Edwin Diaz types, and all fair play to them, they can keep going for it.
I mean, yeah, like I think
Every team is a big market team, but yes, I get what you're saying.
I mean, I think
Yeah,
the
that's true,
question.
too.
I feel like a lot of at this point for the Mets, the question of whether to sign somebody isn't why should we sign this guy? It's why not. Why not?
Let's just
sign
put it
Edwin
this way:
Diaz?
every single Mets fan I follow on Twitter was ecstatic, so they're buying a lot of
Yeah.
goodwill with their fans.
I think to do
Yeah,
it so quickly and not have some back and forth, it buys the goodwill.
It's all fun and games until they lose Jacob deGrom, and then in
Dude,
the first week of the year they blow a save, and everyone's like, "We could have had deGrom with this money."
DeGrom
nailed it
starts
on the head. I couldn't
DeGrom
have said it
starts
any better
15
myself.
games a year.
I was at his implosion in Oakland, and if that was the only game I ever saw, I'd be like, "What the fuck?" But that would also be another emotional buy. I think I don't know how much he's a phenomenal pitcher, but I think he's got a shelf life, and I think his next contract is probably going to reflect that.
I think he'll probably get like a very like high AAV, but only like 2 or 3 years kind of deal.
I don't think anyone should sign him for more than 5 years. Like, no,
except unless it's the Rangers, who might give him 10.
Are we just saying the Rangers are going to go for everyone? Because that's the consensus that I just start to hear now.
The Rangers are going to sign people Rangers are going to sign big names with zero regard for logic.
Big names to 10-year contracts.
And I love that for them.
But let's talk about those contracts that might be coming up. We talked about them already.
What a transition.
End our episode. Great transition. We'll end our episode. We'll end the final one for this year with 10 free agents. I got yelled at for originally suggesting 30. So 10 free agents. Maybe I was a bit ambitious, okay? 10 free agents. 10 of the top free agents. So what we're going to do to give us a starting point. So John Heyman put out his top 30 free agents along with predictions on the contract they'll get. So we'll kind of go around, have a little bit of back and forth on these 10 free agents. We're going to talk about the projected contract, go higher or lower, and then everyone can pick a team. And we'll kind of go from there through the list and bring it home for the year. Say some final goodbyes that you don't have to listen to me for another couple months. So let's get into it. We'll start with Aaron Judge. 9 years, $330 million. Sam, I'll start with you. Higher or lower, and what team you going with?
I think, personally, like 330, like just doesn't seem like the right kind of deal for him. He seems a lot more like just like a 7-300 kind of guy, where he gets more money but less years, like per year. And I think I cannot see a scenario where he doesn't go to either the Mets or the Giants.
Interesting. So no Yankees.
I don't think the Yankees are gonna want to spend on him, which is weird because they're the Yankees,
right?
But I think Brian Cashman has made it very clear that he's not really too keen on giving out like these mega deals. The only one he's given is Garrett Cole, like recently.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means there's money in the bank.
But they have Stanton and Cole both on the books at the same time.
Oh, the Yankees should make it their number one priority to go for Judge.
Does Judge want to come back though? He doesn't. Does Judge even like being in New York?
If they give him enough money, he will. They're the Yankees. I mean, they act like they're not the Yankees of the past anymore, which is kind of ridiculous because in reality they could absolutely just sweep away everybody with the money they have and just go for it again like it's the 90s. But they don't. They're much more I don't know what's the word, controlled now. Yeah, but at the same time they need to get some of that ego back into it. They're the big bad evil empire. Go for re-signing your superstar. Give him all the money. This guy carried their offense last year. That's the thing. Without him, their offense
broke the American League home run record, right?
I know. I'm just saying
that
in terms of Yankees. In terms of what the Yankees need. I mean, Rizzo is also, he just opted out today. So they're currently looking at an offense without two guys who just mashed and carried them throughout the entire season. They're going to re-sign at least one of them, and they should prioritize Judge.
I don't know. If he does go somewhere, I kind of hope he grows a mustache because I think he looked like a British cop, and I really want to see that.
I for one want to see like Aaron Judge with like not a mustache, but like if like a goatee, would just be like I could see it.
You know what? He would look like a really tall youth pastor.
Yes.
No, assistant youth pastor. Assistant youth
Very
pastor.
Worse.
Because I feel like the actual youth pastor is always short, and then like his assistant's like
No. I feel like no. He gives off more like 30. With that, he can give off more like suburban dad vibes. Like
See,
guy who
no, I
wears a-
think he would be like villain level. Like
depends on the nature of the goatee.
it does. It really does.
Because if it's like all like clean, if it's all like neat and well trimmed, then super villain.
Yeah, like a Hunger Games villain.
Yeah.
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 So
You lost me.
Sam, you're going Mets or Giants.
Yeah.
James, what are you going with?
Lower on the contract number and years. I'm saying with the Yankees because if they don't sign him, they probably aren't going to be very good relative to the standards they set for themselves next year. So,
Valid.
and you're the Yankees, so you shouldn't be outbid. Plus, I'm buying goodwill with our producer Peyton. So, this one's for you, buddy.
Samuel, your thoughts?
I really just think that if the Yankees aren't making this their priority, I don't know what they're doing because their offense looks weak right now. I mean, Donaldson and Hicks is going to be their main priority to get off the books. So like, I don't see the offense they have without Judge and another just big middle of the order bat because that's their focus is bringing their guy back who was the face of the franchise and carried them to the playoffs and set all the records. He's going to be a Yankee. They're going to make it. They're going to bring him back.
Tavi?
I mean, I think they should go after him. He's got a super agent, and I think he can get every penny he wants, and to settle for less would be stupid. He is a guy who does seem to have at least the aura of injuries, if not actual injuries, just long, tall dudes. It's hard to keep all those long limbs intact. But I think he has the ability to have one of those mega contracts, and he's not going to be doing a hometown deal. I think I think he's going to get every penny, and I think he should. He's that good.
I mean, I think is there a chance it just turns into a Steve Cohen versus Steinbrenner contest of now let's give him more money until someone is just like, wait a minute, that's $500 million.
I will be curious to see.
Hey, someone call Elon Musk, see if he's into baseball players.
He's buying Twitter right now.
Nationals
He can't be
owner
bothered.
Elon Musk.
Let's jump to the
Weird
other
way of
coast.
saying Jeff Bezos.
No,
Let's
Jeff
jump to
Bezos
the
is
other
on-
coast and go with Trey Turner. So Trey Turner has 9 for 275. And I'll start with Dodgers Digest on this one. Tavi, 9 for 275.
I mean, his bat is worth it. His fielding isn't. Is what it comes down to. He's had some errors in some key moments, including in that Padres series, the last series. But his bat, he went toe to toe with Freddie Freeman, who is, they were both MVP candidates for a while, and I want him back. I want him back with maybe a couple more ground balls hit to him at second in between games. I don't know about numbers. I think the numbers is going to depend on which team offers it, because I think there's some teams he'd be willing to maybe take a deal with and some teams he wouldn't. I don't know. He's kind of a quiet dude. He doesn't seem to have, like, he has the drive to win. Don't get me wrong. You don't get to the majors without the drive to win, but I don't know that he has the win at all costs kind of mentality that would talk him out of going to a team or somewhere else. I don't know. He's a real quiet dude. He's a hard dude to read, but yeah, I want to keep his bat around. Absolutely. I'd like him to maybe a few less errors at shortstop would make me very happy. He's still very good. Don't get me wrong. He just his flubs tend to come in extremely important moments, and his bat can go cold sometimes in extremely important moments. So I don't know who I'd want in his place. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Trey,
James,
okay.
Oh, my bad.
spacing out with Sunday Night Football.
Football.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll talk about the Dodgers, I guess. Still not really over their loss this year.
Clearly.
Trey Turner, number years, I'm going lower. I think he had like 30 infield hits this year, which was the most in the majors, and it was part of the reason why he had so many hits. The speed will only go down. It's not like you're going to get any faster if you're Turner, so that might not age well. I would say it's a little lower. I would say like 8 and 240 would be my best guess. And that's all this really is. It's just fancy guesswork. I'm saying the Braves just because they can't keep underpaying dudes forever. And he goes east. I don't know. I'd love for him to stay in
Well, there's
the
not
Dodgers,
much
but I don't
options
think
west.
it's going to happen.
So
Can't go much further west.
unless Hawaii's making a bid on the A's.
Trey Turner is a future Baltimore Oriole, in my opinion. He will be a Baltimore Oriole.
They have
will.
Gunner. They have
But-
Gunner.
Doesn't matter. What they need right now is a statement ad to make them not just be wild card hopeful to being toe to toe with the other teams at the division. If they add Trey Turner, they are 100% at the level of the Red Sox, Rays, and Blue Jays, in my opinion, because that's kind of they just need some finishing touches on that
Okay, so-
roster.
but imagine him in that uniform. That's just I can't picture.
Doesn't matter. Baltimore are relevant again. They are. I mean, not a lot of people are used to it just because of how long it's been, but the young core is there. Mike Elias has talked about now is the time to add, and
I don't think he's the right guy to add though.
why not? He's the perfect guy to add, in my opinion. A franchise shortstop for the next 8 years that's gonna be your guy. I mean,
I think they're much more in the market for like a cornerstone pitcher.
I mean, yeah, they do need help pitching.
I think
You bring up a good. Oh, sorry, keep going.
the offense is going to be just fine with everyone developing. It's the pitching that's concerning. Get a top of the line ace in there. That's what makes them a top of the division team.
I
Or
could
close
honestly
to
see
it.
them going for DeGrom or Trey Turner then.
Well, you bring up a good point about a franchise shortstop. The Dodgers already have a lot of long-term high value long-term contracts. Maybe not a lot, but I don't know if are they looking to lock in their core? Are they going to offer him 8 years? Are they going to offer him 5 years? I kind of think that's probably going to play into more of what he's looking for in a team is how long of a contract is he getting? Because I don't know that the Dodgers offer him 5 years or longer.
Sam, you got a team?
I wholeheartedly believe that Trey Turner is going to be a Philadelphia Philly. Think about it.
I'd rather not.
Shortstop. Position of need. Dave Dombrowski is really good at getting billionaires to spend money.
I think they're a team that could be in the hunt for a big shortstop. So I'm not ruling that out by any
I
means.
would almost venture to say they first go for Correa. I feel like Correa's probably the better fit in Philly, but I think
There's a lot of shortstops. Xander, Dansby.
it's the Phillies. They're going to go for the best guy.
Yeah. But let's talk about another one of the shortstops. Carlos Correa, similar deal. 9 for 275 is the prediction. Well, according to John Heyman. Well, I won't start with Dodgers Digest on this one.
I've already given my opinion on that one.
Yes. You would kick him to the curb without a moment's notice.
Not just me.
That is fair. Samuel, what are your thoughts?
With Correa, honestly, it's just really there's a number of teams who could want him. For one thing, this is a bit of a it's really telling on what their first move of the offseason will be, but nobody ever knows what the Angels are really going to do. They're either going to make a huge 10-year acquisition or they're just going to add the most mundane pieces imaginable and do nothing. So I could see Correa filling the hole for shortstop over there. I could also see Correa going to the Braves. I mean, Dansby's leaving and Correa's the more enticing option in my opinion. I would go Correa. So Braves or Angels for me, but Braves leaning.
James.
Here is my prediction, with the full disclaimer that I will definitely be wrong. 10
Well,
years,
you're confident.
300 million. San Francisco Giants.
Ooh.
I'm sweating from the hotness of that take.
How long is Crawford there for?
Another year.
I could see it. You need to make a splash.
Yeah, the Giants, they're in a weird spot just because their front office earned a lot of goodwill from their 2021 season, but now you're kind of at a point where it's, well, the Dodgers are going to keep doing what they're doing. The Padres just made it to the LCS. The Diamondbacks have probably a top 3 farm system in the majors. We need to do something because last year was just very middling for a team that had won 107 games. There was a lot of regression, and they need to invest in players who aren't going to just crash back down to earth. Like they invested in Crawford, and he suddenly went from having a career season in his mid-30s to being meh in his mid-30s. So I think Correa is that kind of guy. And, it buys some goodwill with the fan base because Dodgers fans already hate him. So
That's fair. Sam?
Can you hear me first off?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, just making sure. I accidentally clicked a button on my headphones. So Carlos Correa, future Baltimore Oriole.
Okay, hang on here.
So why is Trey Turner invalid?
Exactly.
Because
Sam,
Carlos,
I am on your side with this one, just so we're clear.
All right.
I thought I gave it some additional thought, and I've realized that while making a splash on a big shortstop is not the correct move for the Orioles, it is exactly the kind of thing they would do.
I mean, you have the Houston connection with Elias and Correa.
So got Elias. I think Mike Elias is gonna be. I don't think he would sign Trey Turner, but they could. I think it's far more likely that they sign Carlos Correa to be that. Just be the.
I don't think
veteran.
So the Orioles sucked for a long time because they did not participate in the international market as heavily because they felt like international players were getting the short shift.
Mhm.
I don't think they're going to invest in a cheater.
But I feel Mike Elias has a connection with him.
He does.
If Mike Elias likes him, he'll go for it.
there's a lot of people who worked in Houston over the last decade who are not working in Houston but are still working in the majors. I don't think that connection's as important as you're willing to make it.
I don't think that organization with the leadership that it has goes after a player like Correa. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's an organizational bad fit.
It's far more likely that I'm wrong.
Yeah, I appreciate the full heel turn you did in like 35 seconds between.
I did, but you think I'm just thinking
Crapping on
about,
Samuel's thought that Turner's going to Baltimore, then picking a
I know.
different. I appreciate.
Turner's not going to the Orioles. No way. Correa though.
Yeah, that's just what happened.
Yeah.
Let's.
Yeah. I think that I'm just like trying to I just think about it. I'm like, who can I see in an Orioles uniform? Carlos Correa. It makes sense.
Because
it makes no sense, but okay.
Because he wore orange before is what he's going with. Let's move on. Let's pick a different shortstop. Xander Bogaerts, 8 for 225. Sam, get them out and figure out what teams wear red, and then figure out which one is going to be his. I'll start with
Cleveland.
Yeah, that seems about right for him. The absurdity that is happening on my screen is distracting me, and I'm not even talking about the football game that I'm watching. I don't think he stays with the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
I think they made that clear when they signed Story. I think he's going to go to Seattle. I think they're going to convince him to play second base. Because money talks, and it's not. I mean, Boston signed Story to be his replacement. I think they're going to extend Devers this offseason. Seattle, I think they have a good pitch, and if they're willing to meet his contract demands, I think he'll be willing to meet him halfway and agree to play second.
Fair enough. Samuel?
Bogarts is definitely going to stay a Red Sox, just with how much that organization just loves him and how much that team is centered around him. He is the captain of that team. He's been there since 2013. I mean, we got to realize that this guy is the centerpiece of the Red Sox, and to just casually think that the Red Sox are just going to let him walk on and have no plans to extend Rafi Devers with how it's going. It's just, it wouldn't make sense with the Red Sox. The Red Sox love their homegrown players. They like keeping them around. And I think Bogarts is going to be a Red Sox for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, the Red Sox love their homegrown players so much that they traded
Well, not
their best
Mookie.
homegrown
We're not talking about
player
Mookie.
since Carl Yastrzemski to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Tavi, your thoughts?
I have no opinion on this. I could not care.
Fair enough. Sam, what jersey can you see Xander Bogaerts wearing?
Okay. I've contemplated it, and I've thought about the teams that wear red, and I've decided to go away from that. I'm going to predict a sequence of events. Aaron Judge signs somewhere else. The Yankees rebound with Xander Bogaerts to be their new shortstop because Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is terrible.
It's like dating each other's exes.
He'll pull a Jacoby Ellsbury, but be less bad.
Jacoby Ellsbury, but less bad. Fair enough. Let's round out the shortstops. Dansby Swanson, 7 for 175 is the prediction.
Oh, Lord, 7 years.
Dansby Swanson?
Dansby Swanson? Oh.
It's the hair, right? It's got to be the hair.
Don't shoot the messenger. This is from John Heyman.
I know, but I mean, he's a good baseball player. But...
Tavi, do you have thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that has to include his hair budget. I guess. I don't know. I don't want to like dump on the guy, but like that's a surprise. He also has had injuries plague him. He's also been kind of a journeyman, and I think that's gonna keep. He's bounced around. Right, I'm talking. Yeah, Dansby Swanson.
No,
he got traded once.
No, he was.
No, okay, hold on.
He's
I'm
always
having
been
a
the Braves.
He's been a Braves.
He got traded after being picked first overall by the Diamondbacks to the Braves, and he hasn't.
Sorry, yes, never mind. I was thinking hair. Sorry. Clearly, it's for the hair. Okay, I changed my mind. I have no opinion on this.
Fair enough. Sam, let's go with you.
All right. So oh God, give me a second.
Puppy.
I agree with Tavi about the hair. I think Dansby Swanson's like a top 5
He does have hair, though.
player in the majors.
So we have Dansby Swanson. He wears both blue and red.
Oh my
God. Hey, we'll take him on the Dodgers. I don't know.
No, he's not going to the Dodgers. I have a scorching hot take that he is going to be. Excuse me while I think about what I'm actually about to say here. I think he's going to the
I don't think
Rays.
he-
He's about to
No,
go to the
he's
Rays.
not.
See, I think
No,
you
he's
should
not.
go behind him and say he's going to be a Rocky.
I cover the. The Rays are on my mind 24/7.
who?
There's no inclination whatsoever.
Well, they were in the Freddie Freeman sweepstakes.
Yeah, but
Pretty
they
heavily.
literally have Wander Franco and Brandon Lau up the middle for the next 7 years under contract.
Okay,
It
so
doesn't
play him at third.
with top
Could've-
prospect coming up. They
think
wouldn't.
the Rays are turning a corner with spending money.
No,
I
you
think they are,
don't.
but
Dude,
Dansby is
what do you
the
got?
is the exact
I think
opposite
they're
of the guy
going
they'd go
to.
for.
No, you don't. You
The
don't.
Rays,
either.
the Rays are going to spend this offseason. I guarantee you, they will. They'll do something, but it's not going to be Dansby Swanson. Swanson's
maybe
going
it's
to
not
be the
Dansby.
consolation prize.
So, and I think the Rays are going to be in the sweepstakes and get freaked out by the $200 million price tags, and then sign Swanson for $150 or something.
I will issue a public apology to you if they actually do that. However, you're full of crap until then. James, your thoughts?
You see, I thought we were all well versed in baseball, and then I heard that bullshit. But no offense to the person, that might
know what,
just be the dumbest idea I've heard.
When Sam prefaces it with, "Let me think about what I'm about to say,"
He doesn't.
and then you
You're
don't.
forgetting it's 11 p.m. here, and I am losing track of my thoughts.
Yeah, it's 11 p.m. here too, and I'm still fine. Anyway,
Shane, your thoughts?
Yes, but emotionally, it's only 10 p.m., so buck up.
That is fair.
emotionally, I'm on Hawaii time, I guess. Anyway, 150 Phillies.
Okay,
I
that
kind
makes
of
me
put
more.
Turner
That makes
on
me more
the.
sense. Can I change my vote?
I kind of put
No.
Turner on the Braves, and I feel like that's the one team he would. That's the team I think a player would take a discount for, but it's telling to me that they didn't get something done already. And also, I saw his camp was expecting 140 to 150 million. So I think the Phillies are willing to just say, yeah, why not?
You know, a team nobody is talking about is the Cubs, and the Cubs are absolutely going to be looking for a shortstop.
Okay.
And I think Dansby Swanson, there's a loaded free agent shortstop market, and basically somebody's going to be left scrambling at the end. And Dansby Swanson's going to be your guy that you're left scrambling to get at the end, because let's face it, he's really not as good as the rest of the top tier talent. So I think you're going to have a team like maybe the Cubs, big market. I always use that term, big market, big spenders, more like big spenders that are going to go after a big free agent shortstop. And they've talked about wanting Correa, and they might just end up being that they're going to finish last place and say, let's get Dansby. We got to get something.
They could finish
I like
last
it.
place, but I find it hard to imagine they finish in last in a division that features the Reds and
Yeah.
the Pirates, who don't
I
care
can
about
see
winning.
him in
No.
a
I
Cubs
said in the
uniform.
sweepstakes, not the
Oh.
standings. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the shortstop sweepstakes, not the division.
My apologies.
Yeah,
No,
sorry.
they're going to re-sign Andrelton Simmons. What are you talking about?
Yes,
He got
yes.
cut in like June, and they needed offense then.
Let's keep on the Cubs train though, because we're halfway through, heading towards the home stretch. Wilson Contreras, 4 for $88 million, so we're out of the $100 million plus range. I'm gonna start with, against my better judgment, Sam.
Okay.
Okay, I told you these names before this podcast.
Yeah,
You
okay.
had time to think about what you're about.
I think I have a good idea of what they're going to do. I think I had narrowed down like 2 or 3. And then I think he's a Texas Ranger.
That's a good choice.
He seems like the random big money spending that they're going to do this offseason.
They do have
That
2
makes sense.
catchers on the roster that are.
I
Yeah.
Okay,
I
did that
think they
stop
like
them last time?
Heim and
I mean,
Garver.
Yeah, Mitch Garver and Jonah Heim are
Yeah, they,
like one of the best duos in catching baseball.
But
Again,
I do
they-
agree that I don't think it's so.
they don't
they're
care.
So overwhelming that you can't move one of them to a backup.
They're the
position.
Rangers. They don't care about positional holes. They find big name, they sign big name. Wilson
So,
Contreras seems like that big name.
that's a good name. Samuel, what about you?
Oh, well, this is the instance where I do see the Rays getting him.
I was one off.
Mike Zunino just left the team. Francisco Mejia expected to get cut in arbitration, leaving them with literally no catchers. This was a guy they tried to trade for at the deadline, and they couldn't get because the Cubs' asking price was too high, so they walked away. And now they finally have the opportunity to get him. They have a lot of space open on that payroll for a type of free agent like him, and he doesn't take a lot of years. He'll take like 4 or 5. That's really not a lot when you think about how many years these guys are getting and how afraid the Rays are of giving out long term.
James, what about you?
I have a hard time picking. We're being honest. I agree with the contract or the years. I think it'll be $80 million. I think it'll be either the Cubbies or the Astros.
I think the Astros is very valid considering news draft that there was a trade in place for him at the deadline to the Astros that got spiked. I do wonder how he's feeling right now, knowing he could have been traded to the World Series winning team.
He's going to have 88 million reasons not to care soon enough. And a nice piece of jewelry on his own finger. But you do make a great point. Could hurt.
Yeah, I think that's possible. The Astros definitely wanted him, and they might be willing to put money for it. Apparently, Dusty Baker did spike the deal. Dusty Baker might not be around. Whoever's coming in next might try to pull string again.
I like that one. Because it was real quick. It was Urquidy for Contreras, which I think would have been a huge gift for the Cubs. I'm sure they were pretty upset that ended up being nixed.
I think Baker's point was more of what they were trading away rather than not wanting what they were getting.
Right.
That changes that puts a different dynamic on the rest of their season. It's probably a good stop.
I like the choices here. We've got 4 guys remaining. We'll start in LA. Clayton Kershaw. Let's go with this. Is there anyone who believes he won't be a Dodger?
No. The only way he's not a Dodger is if he decides that he can't pitch the way he wants to pitch. And then he ends his career. And that's basically what Andrew Friedman has said, is that they didn't really give him the ball is completely in his court, to use a different sports metaphor. And I think he's earned that. And I don't think there's anyone on any side who doesn't think that he's earned the right to say yes or no. If he says no to the Dodgers, who's he going to say yes to?
I feel like that's the general consensus among us.
Yeah.
All right, Clayton Kershaw, 2023 Dodger. Let's move on.
Or 2023 Dodgers pitching coach, not pitching coach, bench coach, or whatever coach.
He's going to take a minute and play some ping pong, I think.
We'll go with the other lefty left on this list, Carlos Rodon, projected at 5 for $150.
He's already turned down an offer from San Francisco, right?
He opted out.
He opted out.
Opted out. Okay.
He's about to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
5 for $150. Samuel, what do you think?
This is where you're gonna see the defending champion strengthen their squad. Astros are gonna get Carlos Rodon. You know, who knows what might happen with Verlander? He has a hot market. Yankees really want him from the reports I've read. So I honestly think this is where you're gonna see the Astros. They're going to get a lot more budget room. James Click is going to get a lot of room to work with, and he's going to say, let's get the most premier starting option on the market besides DeGrom maybe, but I think Rodon is better in the long term for deal value. And yeah, perfect Houston Astro.
I like it. James?
5 for $120 Baltimore. I think this is the guy they choose to spend on. They need pitching help more than they need position player help, just because I think they were like 21st in ERA, which is better than being last, like they had been the last, 4 years before this, but they still need pitching help. And the young guys haven't really come up on that end. They've come up on the hitting side, haven't really shown up in the major leagues and made an impact just yet. And I think spending on a guy like Rodon, where if he's healthy, he's going to be really good for you, can make it easier for those young guys so that they don't feel the need to be the next great Baltimore pitcher.
I like it. Sam?
I think. I swear to God, I had this in my head a second ago. I'm not just making this up on the fly. Oh yeah.
Live play-by-play, I get it.
Okay, Rodon is going to the Mets. Yeah, he's going to the Mets. That's what I was thinking. He's going to the Mets. Steve Cohen's gonna be like, we're gonna spend money on this guy, and then they're gonna spend money on that guy. It's gonna be great.
I'll be curious about your DeGrom answer in a little bit. Tavi, any thought?
I was just kind of looking at his stats against the Dodgers. I don't know. I mean, he can stay, he can go. He's gonna get paid. Well, like weirdly, I think like Hanser Alberto has gotten, if I'm looking at this right, which is a quick Google, Hanser Alberto has gotten 6 hits off of him. I can't be looking at that right. No, he's gotten 6 hits off of him, but Mookie Betts has gotten 1. So it's like I don't know. Who cares where he goes? I don't know. No, he'll get paid. He'll be fine. I'm always happy to see good players leave the
West Coast.
leave the Giants.
Just the Giants. You
Carlos
don't want to
Rodon.
see the A's getting rid of players.
Well,
The A's. Well, it won't be. Well, the A's are
The
leaving.
A's are out of
The
talent to
all
give
of the
away.
A's are leaving. I bet.
yeah.
I feel really bad for them, but having witnessed their stadium in person, the plumbing really is as bad as they say it is. It's pretty gnar.
Oh, God.
And it's not in a great neighborhood. I don't know.
What they did
At
to
some
show you in
point,
Moneyball.
you have to go where they want you, and it feels like Oakland doesn't want them. The people of Oakland do. The everybody else of Oakland do not.
Everyone besides the people.
Yeah.
And yeah. For Oakland, let's just put it this way. For Oakland being as diverse as it was a very pale audience, which tells me their outreach is maybe targeting less not as effective as they could be, because it's a real fun team.
But well, Carlos Rodon should have been a White Sox. That's fine. He's not. I don't get to talk about that anymore.
It's the last time. What do you mean? It's the last time you can talk about it.
It really is the last time I can talk about it, because he should have been a White Sox this year. And then after that, it is what it is. But anywho, 2 big arms left. Justin Verlander, 2 for 75. Who's he going to? How much are you getting? Sam, we'll start with you.
I think that Justin Verlander is about to be an Atlanta Brave.
It seems like a Braves move to me.
That would be a Braves move.
The amount of money that they have been able to basically defer, they can afford that short-term high AAV contract like Verlander to make that, to bolster them for the next couple seasons, let him retire or walk or something. It seems like the right move at the right time when it's not a long-term commitment.
I think it's a very Braves move. I'm going to agree with that. Samuel, what about you?
I haven't heard any talk about this actually happening, but I think it would be a great fit for the two sides. The Blue Jays, honestly, give the Blue Jays a guy like Verlander for that rotation, and then you're going on every level with that roster and pitching staff. I mean, you got Gausman, Manoah, and then Verlander. It makes up for the Barrios with how bad that extension has been. It picks up slack in the back. Same with Kikuchi. So I think they want to really nail another free agent pitching signing like they did with Gausman, and that's going to make for a terrifying 1-2-3.
I like it. James?
He is going to re-sign with Houston for 2 years and $60 million because he just won a World Series there, and why mess with a good thing?
Tavi?
Yeah, I think he stays with the Astros. I think he's really comfortable there. I think he's got a good groove. It's working for him, and I mean he's not a villain, but he's definitely talked enough shit to where there will be I think he should stay where he's comfortable. And I think he's comfortable.
He's more douchey than villain, but
yeah. He seems not very self-aware about some things, and his brother's a lot.
Oh, Ben Verlander. God.
Because that's the other thing is like, who's gonna take on? Like, brother is liability. It really is. He's a very visible liability.
You
And
think Patrick Mahomes could go anywhere else?
Oh God, dude.
I think
Jackson.
the Astros seem to be comfortable-ish with Ben. But I think any team who's just looking at Justin and not understanding that he comes with a very costly media liability is stupid. If that's not on the scouting report, then they're stupid.
I won't like say this is gonna happen, but it would be fun to see him try and save his legacy by going back to Detroit.
Oh, that's the storyline.
I wouldn't hate that, but I don't
think he'd do it.
I don't know
Does any
what
pitcher
legacy
wanna
there
go
is
to
to
Detroit?
save there.
I mean, he wasn't embroiled in the cheating scandal, at least partially.
I don't know if he'd go back to Detroit. I don't think that's the right place to try and win.
Nah.
Not the next 2 years.
It would be a very arrogant move in a way that I don't think he is.
Yeah.
That would be an ego. It would be searching for an ego stroke that he doesn't need.
That's fair.
And I think maybe it's more of like the contract after this one that he maybe does that.
Can they afford him?
I don't think he gets a contract after this one. I think this is it.
Yeah.
But all right, let's bring it home with.
out.
Let's bring it home with probably the most talked about of the starting pitchers, Jacob deGrom. 3 for 125 is what he's listed at. Sam, that was a very visceral reaction. I'll come back to you. James, I'll start with you.
I think he goes to the Rangers for that amount of money, or it'll be a 2-year, $90 million deal. I think there could be an opt-out after that second year regardless. But I think he's a Ranger.
That's fair. Tavi?
I was just pulling up his injury report from this year and just see.
It's a scary place to be.
Yeah, I think it's not. Yeah. 3 years, I think, is the right length. I don't know about the amount. I think you're going to be severely overpaying for the last year of whatever length you add him to. Anything over 3 years, or even maybe 2 years. If he can stay healthy, yeah. But I mean, that's every pitcher approaching that age, right? Like, it's if he can stay healthy, is his body, going to be able to keep it together? I think the Mets, since we're talking about Edwin Diaz as an emotional buy, deGrom would also be a good emotional buy for them for the team and for the fans, because it's not like he's gonna all of a sudden start being real bad, unless there's something goes off the rails. It's still baseball after all. I'm knocking on a piece of wood for his health and well-being, but I don't think maybe that much, but I think he could get that much from the Mets because they've already overpaid for not overpaid, but paid a lot more than maybe anticipated for an emotional buy. And deGrom is right there with them when it comes to especially fan excitement and fan fervor.
I agree with that.
I think
what about you? Okay, sorry.
I was just saying, I think he gets the highest contract from Rangers flop money aside. he gets the highest contract offer. I think maybe from the Mets. Maybe not. I don't know. That's what I
Makes
think.
sense. Samuel, what about you?
I absolutely know that AJ Preller wants DeGrom 100% because the Padres are going to be going in on him very hard. I mean, they just beat the Dodgers in the playoffs. They've proven that they are going to run with any big team in that division. They have Tatis coming back for the full season now, full year of Juan Soto. They want to bolster themselves as much as possible. And in the short term lookout, DeGrom is perfect for that. He gives you that option to give you maybe not like a huge long-term deal for a pitcher, but 3 or 4 perfect in the time being for when you're competing with the Dodgers, still have Soto and have all your key contending pieces there. So I think the Padres are getting him.
Sam,
Well-
you sent Rodon to New York. Where are you
DeGrom is
sending
going to
him?
Los Angeles.
Which one?
Dodgers.
Don't pull that.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
Anaheim. They are Anaheim.
What do you mean don't
100%.
pull that?
I had to. I'm sorry.
What do you, I think the
Listen, I
Dodgers.
have my fun with Dodgers Digest. All right, listen.
I think we're gonna see Andrew Friedman throwing stuff at the wall after losing in the NLDS. They say, you know
Wasn't the
what?
only one.
Let's
Except
get
he doesn't do that
Well, yeah.
at all. That is
No,
not what he does at all.
I don't know what Andrew Friedman does. Okay, I don't know
Really?
what kind of guy he is.
I don't know either.
I'm trying to create a narrative that would compel him to sign Jacob
By
DeGrom.
all means, build your fiction.
I don't think it's out of the ordinary
Just-
for you to say that.
He's
No,
just,
but I think that reasoning, that's
just
not,
sign. You know,
Finish your
sign,
something.
sign. Like at some point, like just sign the best pitcher on the planet. Who cares? Get all the best talent in one place.
I think they've got enough money coming off the books that it's like you can do something like that and still go add where you need to elsewhere. I don't think pitching's their most immediate need when you're losing your
I
starting shortstop.
disagree.
Jacob DeGrom is always a need.
Well, he's
He's a
always in
want.
need, but is it the most pressing one when you're about to lose your starting shortstop?
Gavin Lux can play shortstop.
Can he?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, he's a much better
Yeah.
shortstop defensively than second.
But you're
baseman.
going
Yeah.
from. But the point is, you're going from Trey Turner to Gavin Lux. now.
It's the bat you're losing there. On
Yeah,
the
you're
field,
losing a bat, is what
they're
my point.
about feeling wise, but it's the bat that you're losing there.
No, OOTP legend Gavin Lux.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
I like the call there though. I do think I will go on the record and say I bet he ends up in New York. That's going to be one. Mets fans will riot if they lose to DeGrom.
He's been there for 12 years. He is a Met. He is what
It's not gonna happen, but it'd be so funny if he went to the Yankees. Like the funniest thing
He
to
couldn't
ever happen.
exists in entire parts of New York.
New York.
I think it would be funnier if he goes to the Phillies or the Braves.
New York would burn in those places.
And I welcome that.
I'm sure you do, Mr.
Mhm.
Chaos himself. Well, folks, that's it. That's our top 10 for the off season. Tavi, I'm going to let you throw your little promo in for what's going to be our podcasting for the next couple months.
Yes,
over the
we're
season.
gonna try and have the first episode in 2 weeks. I have some scheduling issues because the people I'm talking to are all across the nation and in several different time zones. Hopefully in 2 weeks we will have Baseball Neighborhood. This is a podcast. The tagline is a Dodgers podcast about the other 29 teams. So we talk a little bit about the history between the two teams. We talk about this is much more from a fan perspective. So analytics will kind of pull into it, but it's where we're talking about those intangibles, right? Like we are absolutely going to talk about who has the best facial hair, but we're also going to talk about, who has, who they think they're going to sign in free agency. So we go the whole spectrum of things to discuss and talk about. A lot of it is really, really fun. A lot of diverse voices. It's definitely not going to be, it's going to be more laughy than stats. So I enjoy it. I really like it. There's a couple old episodes up already. Baseball Neighborhood. You can find it wherever podcasts are found. We're going to have a new format and I'm really excited about it. And hopefully you'll get to hear it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. So we'll be promoting that as part of Diamond Digest over the off season because this is the end of This Week in Baseball because there are no more weeks of baseball. That was
Sad.
really.
We're not gonna do This Week in Hot
That's
Stove.
fine.
Thank God.
This Week in Wiffle Ball.
That sounded a lot more clever in my head than what it came out.
Let's just
That's par for the
transition
course.
to like an analysis of the diamond market.
No, because I'm not recording that every week. But
I can't think of anything more depressing.
yeah,
Off the top of my head, at least.
as we sign off, though, I do want to again shout out our entire crew who has worked on all of these podcasts. I know, especially recently, Tavi, James, you have been here week in, week out. Sam, you're one of the more frequent members this year. Samuel, I look forward to you being on more to come throughout the next season. And we've had I could spend time naming our entire crew, but that would take forever. I do want to shout out our managing editor and basically the producer for a lot of our media stuff, Peyton Ellison, who is always in the background on these by choice.
Smart ass.
But
What? Who said that?
we get him in the comments, our little private comment section. He always throws something in. So we always know he's here, and we appreciate everything.
I think I have to box him, and I think I have to box him next month now.
Whatever fight you got into yourself, I don't want to know. But do want to shout him out as well. Our entire team just does great work. It's hard when we're a high school and college student page, a lot of it, not all of it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm still in high school. What?
Yeah, trust me, I wish I was. I wish I could say.
I'm the only one in high school.
I started on this page when I was in college, and I'm long past it, so it's a bit depressing. But it's hard. The point is, it's hard to put out good content when you have so many competing priorities. But I appreciate all the work our team does, our writers do, our podcasters do outside of their blogs. Again, I appreciate everyone's support. I know our entire team appreciates the support that we get through social media interactions, through the views on these. Cannot thank everyone enough. It makes everything we do not just screaming into the void. Like we're talking to people at the end of the day. And so we appreciate all of you and your support. Diamond-digest.com is the website. At Diamond_Digest is Twitter. Diamond.digest is the Instagram. I put the scrolling ticker up. I realized that was unnecessary for anyone watching. The socials were on there the entire time.
Look at
Diamond
that.
Digest is the TikTok. Diamond Digest. You'll find it on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Make sure to stay in touch with us over the off season. We'll have more to come as news breaks. Again, Baseball Neighborhood with Tavi. And well, I'm sure we'll be adding to our crew as we head into 2023. So thank you all, the four of you who are on this, 5 of you with Peyton, Tavi, James, Sam, and Samuel. Jordan Lazowski signing off for the final time this year. Again, appreciate everyone's support. We will see you in 2023. Take care, everyone.